Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. This is a late one, and it's just about 2:30, early Memorial Day morning. Again, hope you all enjoying your weekend as we're coming to the end. It goes by quick, but before you know it, your 4th of July holiday will be here. And then before you know that, Labor Day, and then Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all be here before you know it. But I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. This is a late one, as you can see, as it's 2:30 in the morning. I didn't jump on right away to do my reaction to AEW's Double or Nothing, so doing it right now. If you guys watched it, I'm very curious what your opinion was. Now, I try not to look at any other reviews or look at anybody else's opinions. If you look at Bleacher Report, they do the grading and everything like that, and I typically look at that after I do my opinion because I just don't want my opinion to be influenced or sound like I'm copying somebody. This particular, I did a little differently. I did look at the grades. I didn't read the comments, but I just looked to see because I really didn't think much of the matches were that great. And from what I'm seeing, at least on this, it seems to be an agreement. Like I said, I didn't read their comments or their details about it. They just do a grading. And at least if you go to Bleacher Report and you click on, live winners, live reaction, and highlights, it's a lot of C's. I think one match got a B minus, and I think the other one got an A plus, which was the championship match. Actually, I didn't scroll all the way down. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, and then the Blackpool got a C. So, yeah, it really didn't keep my interest. Like I always say, I think I'm not going to buy it at the last minute. I decide to buy it. So I did buy the pay-per-view. I did pay the $50 for it. And like I said, it was a disappointment. There really wasn't much I was really interested in seeing in this pay-per-view. Probably the only thing I was really interested in was the championship match. And I'm going to start there because I kind of feel, and I will say that was probably the best match out of everything. And I think that was the match that got an A plus on this rating thing. I was probably really only looking forward to that match. And the reason being is because I think AEW, I think they partially got it wrong, and I think they got it right. And the part that I think that they got wrong was I think they had this Fatal 4-Way match too early. If you think back to JBL's reign as WWE champion, what was it, 2004? 2003? 2003. No, 4. 2004, JBL was champion. Okay? And JBL faced, at Armageddon of 2004, JBL faced in a Fatal 4-Way match Undertaker, Eddie Guerrero, and Booker T. But before he got to that point, first he faced The Undertaker, I think, twice. One was at SummerSlam, maybe it was another one after that. Okay? Then he faced Eddie Guerrero. Then he faced, I think, Booker T at that Survivor Series. And then all of them wanted their championship match. So you gave JBL multiple opponents. You gave him a long storyline. You threw numerous baby faces in front of him. With AEW, with MJF, I think that's what they should have did. He should have did the first couple of months feuding with Jungle Boy. Then it should have went to Darby Allin. Then it should have went to Sammy Guevara. Not in that particular order, but that's just how it should have went. He had one-on-one matches, one-on-one programs with each of them, and then they all go to the Fatal 4-Way match. I think now it sort of loses a little bit of its luster. Where I think they got it right was focusing on the young guys and the pillars, as they call them, of AEW. Right now, I don't think, that's not what they're doing, but, you don't need, the familiar names with the title. You don't need Christian to be the champion. You don't need Jericho. You don't need Moxley right now. You don't need Kenny Omega right now. Right now, that title should be bounced around between the likes of a Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, a Garcia, maybe a Daniel Bryan, even though he's more of the old timers, but it sort of fits with him a little bit. Maybe a Wheeler. Let's get the young faces in there, getting them into this title picture, and really make them the cornerstone of your company. Because to me, right now, the MJF reign has been a little lackluster, and I think the best way they could have did this was put him in a one-on-one with Jungle Boy. Put him in a one-on-one with Sammy. Put him in one-on-one with Darby Allin, and then do the Fatal 4-Way. Now, perhaps now they're going to do the other way around. I mean, you saw all the disappointed faces after the match. Maybe now it will be a one-on-one with Darby, and then a one-on-one with Jungle. Maybe we're going to get to that point. I don't know. Maybe they're just doing it backwards. Maybe we'll get to a Wardlow now. I don't know. I think Wardlow, for some reason, will be the one to take the title from him. I could be wrong, but I just think they could have did this a little bit differently to give us more of a stretch with MJF as champion. And like I said, they're doing the right thing, keeping these young faces. Throw in a Ricky Starks, throw in a Wardlow. Like I said, you got Swerve Strickland there. These are the guys who should be going for the title right now. While I think AEW still has a long way to go, I think they have at least served their purpose with guys like Jericho and Moxley and Omega being champion, that it's built up some of your young guys that they can sort of carry this to the next level, if that makes sense. The match itself, I thought, was very exciting. A lot of high spots. Congratulations to Sammy. If you saw the announcement before the match, him and his wife Taya are having a baby. Hopefully this will help Sammy mature more, because that's his problem. He is very immature. He does a lot of stupid stuff behind the scenes. So hopefully this will help him mature now that he has a little person that his actions will have repercussions on. You're gonna have a baby. You can't be getting suspended. You got a kid to take care. You're gonna have a kid to take care of now. So, congratulations to him and his wife on having a baby. The loss doesn't really hurt anybody too much. I think Darby Allin, I've seen this a lot. Darby Allin has lost a little lust for his character because he's talking more. I don't think the talking is what hurt him. I just think maybe he's just been a little overexposed, maybe. I don't know. But even I'm not into Darby Allin as much as I used to be. And I don't think it's that he's talking more. I just think they're just throwing him out more. Not to mention he's losing a lot. And I think that needs to be flipped as well. I know he's portrayed as the gutsy underdog. You can beat the crap out of him, but he'll still keep coming back. Out of the three of them, I think it's Jungle Boy who probably has a little bit more of the upside than the two. Behind Jungle Boy, I would say it's Sammy Guevara. So I wouldn't be surprised if they continued at least Jungle Boy pursuing the title. Could they do another Fatal 4-Way at the next match, pay-per-view? Sure. I don't think it's time to take the title for MJF just yet, but I think they need to do more to spotlight MJF as a champion, because I think they're underutilizing his talents that can really help elevate them to the next level. But like I said, you have red hot baby faces, and I think your two top red hot baby faces is Jungle Boy, and I believe I said it before, which is Ricky Starks. So we'll see where that goes, but an exciting match and probably the best match. The match after that, and again, my complaint about AEW is that their pay-per-views are too long, and I'm going to keep saying that. Now, you can sort of get away with it because it's Memorial Day weekend. None of the kids have to go to school tomorrow. Nobody's going to school. And for the most part, a good chunk is not going to work. It's not going to work tomorrow. If you work in retail, hospitality, yeah, your ass is going to work tomorrow. But for the most part, a large swath of people are off. So you kind of get away with it. You kind of get away with it in the summer now because school is over. Again, but you have adults who have to go to work the next day, who can't stay up this late. So either you need to shorten your pay-per-views or put your pay-per-views on Saturday on a non-competing day with WWE just like WCW used to do. WrestleMania may have been the first Sunday, and then their pay-per-view would have been the third Sunday. If WWE's got it, like SummerSlam, I believe is like the first Saturday is early. It's early. I think it's August 5th. I think it's the first Saturday of the month is SummerSlam. If you're going to have an event in August, do it at the end of the month, but do it on a freaking Saturday, not on the Sunday where people have to go to work the next day. And then, before you know it, you're back in the school year. I don't know why these things are so long. I appreciate the fact that they try to give all their matches significant time. I appreciate that, but damn. Okay? And for a pay-per-view event like this that was sort of lackluster, I really wasn't paying that much attention. I was on my computer. I think I started cleaning the kitchen. I took the dogs outside. I started getting my laundry together. Like, I was sort of going in and out of the room because it just wasn't a captivating pay-per-view to me. And if you're going to put on these long-ass pay-per-views, you need to freaking keep my interest in these things. So the match with the arena match, whatever the hell this thing was called, Anarchy in the Arena. Okay. It was sort of telegraphed that the Blackpool Combat Club was going to win. And you can kind of tell when you give these guys these elaborate entrances and you're giving them a live performance like that, there's a high chance, not all the time, but a very high chance and a good shot that they're the ones who are going to win. The first thing that annoyed the shit out of me was that as the match was going, the damn band kept playing the stupid entrance song. And it was annoying to me because to me it kept taking away from what I'm trying to watch. Why are you continuing to play while these guys are fighting? It was just annoying. And if the whole point was for them to just run up the ramp to super kick the guy to shut him up, you could have did that a lot quicker. So that was the first thing that turned me off to this sticking thing. And then what? Not even 10 minutes into the match, guess who's bleeding? Moxley. Every single time this guy is in the ring, he has to fucking bleed. And it takes away the dramatics of it. And as much as this guy cuts himself, his forehead is going to freaking look like Sabu. He's going to look like New Jack. He's going to freaking look like Devon from all the bleeding that this guy does. Enough already. It takes away from it. I do not know why he thinks every match he needs to bleed. Oh, God. I mean, I know they want to be different. They want to stand out. But that is not the way for me to freaking stand out. It is not. It's like watching a Brock Lesnar match. I know I'm going to see suplex, and a couple of F5s, and that's going to be the end. Where's the excitement in it? And then that's the other thing. Is he the new Mick Foley now that every single match now, here come the thumbtacks? Now, I don't remember seeing the thumbtacks being utilized. I will give him that. I don't remember them being shoved into somebody's mouth before or stomping their bare foot in them because I know that shit had to hurt. I'll give them a few brownie points for that. But the match itself, and I know it was called Anarchy, and it's going to sound stupid what I'm about to say, but the match just had too much chaos. And clearly, these guys were forgetting spots because where either the guy was supposed to come in and do the save and they were late and missed their cue, the referee had to, act like they kicked up because there was two instances, and I forgot which Young Buck was being pinned. There was two instances where the Young Bucks was being pinned and they did not kick out. And the referee just acted like they did, and he, swerved his hand so he didn't hit the 3. So there were several miscues on that. With, what's his name? Jesus Christ. The guy who used to be the Jackal in WWE, Don Callis. You knew he was going to be involved. To me, the Blackpool Combat Club had to win this anyway. The Elite is so established. this is what they needed to win. And there's going to be another match with the four of them. Guaranteed there's going to be another match. When they're going to do it, I don't know. And I think that'll be the very dominant win for them. So the Elite is going to get their win back. It's just a matter of when they're going to do it. I mean, the stuff with the forks and the screwdrivers and all this stuff, yeah, there's a way, and sometimes where some of that fits in, and maybe it did fit in to some degree in this particular type of match. But again, with the bleeding of Moxley, I think it just took me out of the match. I'm like, this guy does it all the time. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't. So, I don't know. It just looked unorganized. And I'm going to read something here. It says it's the final thoughts on this, the Bleach Report thing I was talking about. I just want to see. So overall, it looks like they gave the whole pay-per-view a C. So I'm just going to take a look at it. It says final thoughts overall grade. AEW unofficially turned 4 Sunday night with Double or Nothing 2023. Okay, that first line doesn't make sense. But anyway, AEW unofficially turned 4 Sunday night with Double or Nothing, and it's more apparent than ever that the company that exists today no longer resembles what it did back in 2019. At that time, it was seen as a group of revolutionaries and promising young talent that took to Las Vegas Strip for a show that would introduce pro wrestling landscape to the first true alternative since the hype WCW and the Monday Night Wars. There are bits and pieces that are familiar, which is true, which we saw on display. The AEW World Championship Fatal 4 match, absolutely agree with that. And women's division is healthier, ever despite a key interest Jamie Hayter, but is otherwise a promotion that appears to have sacrificed vision for excess. I disagree on the women's division. I still think AEW's women's division is a mess. The main event reflected as much when it did not have to, and the undercard sacrificed story and emotion for gimmicks that did not generate the engagement that one would for at one of the premier events of the year. There is still plenty to be excited about AEW, and particularly young stars hovering around the top of the card, which is what I've talked about before. The raw athleticism that some possess, and the aforementioned women's division that has momentum on its side, and a champion in Tony Storm that is a good version of the Aussie competitors we've ever seen. I wasn't too impressed with that match. I'll get into that. Until those in power stop leading on excessive gimmickry and understand that ladder matches, battle royals, and ultraviolet work is moderation, the best parts of the company will be overshadowed by the head-scratching nature of everything else. Double or Nothing 2023 had a solid card, I don't know about that, going for it on paper but failed to live up to it as a whole, ranking among lesser AEW pay-per-views. I agree with that. Hopefully Tony Khan and his team recognize what worked, understand what did not, and why, and make changes necessary to really thrive. What will be historically significant summer given a rash of high-profile events upcoming, Forbidden Door, All In, and All Out. So, as this person talked about with the main event, the athleticism, and focusing on the 4 pillars, totally agree with that. I disagree on the women's division. I still think the women's division is a mess. Watching some of those matches, I'm just like, okay, we know you're not really trying to hit the person, but can we not make it that obvious that you're not trying to punch the person? Like, some of the strikes was just ridiculous. I thought the Tony Storm and Hayter match was sloppy. And I don't know, maybe because I glanced down and glanced back up, I missed it. But to me, it sort of looked like it was a surprise that the referee counted 3. Like, to me, he had a surprised look on his face. I don't know. Maybe it was just a delayed reaction on their part. But it seemed like to me like that wasn't supposed to happen. I could be wrong. But I am not a fan of the women's division. I have been critical of the women's division for a long time. I'm hoping with Ruby Soho, and Saraya coming back, I'm hoping it will be strong. The only person who I think is the best in that division is Britt Baker. That is it, but she cannot carry that on her own. Jade Cargill, I find boring as hell. You know, I didn't think it was going to be Kate Statlander who dethroned her, but it was. That's fine. And that's another thing. She had an elaborate entrance, Jade Cargill. So it's like, okay, Taya's not going to defeat her. So I wasn't surprised at that, but I was surprised that Kat Statlander came out and did defeat her for the championship, which I think creates a lot more excitement, a lot more buzz. The crowd went crazy. I just think Cargill wasn't over. I just found her boring. And I just think that the women's division of AEW is a disaster. And I think they need to put better focus on it. I think the quality of their matches need to be a lot better, because I thought both matches, while the TBS championship wasn't as sloppy as I thought the Toni Storm match was, to me, it still needs work. But it's funny that this person wrote this part about gimmickry, because I was thinking that when they were playing the package before the Anarchy in the Arena match, I'm just thinking, it seems like they're always doing some sort of cage match. They're always doing some sort of ladder match. They're always doing some sort of, hardcore match. And it's like, enough already. Because it's like with WWE when it was the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view and then the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. It's like you took away what made those gimmicks special. The Hell in a Cell was supposed to be where you went to end it. That you've been through a ladder match, you've been through a hardcore match, you've been through your one-on-one, you did the street fight, maybe you did a casket match, false count, whatever. You've had your multiple matches, but the only way to settle this was inside the Hell in a Cell, and that was the end. And it's like AEW doesn't utilize these gimmicks that way. They just keep throwing them out there because they think that's what everybody wants to see. And while, yes, but again, you want to preserve the importance and the excitement of those gimmicks. And you're just prostituting them every freaking week. And that's the problem with AEW. And that's why I agree with some of the stuff that this person wrote, that you're leaning on the gimmicks, and that, to do your battle, and that's the other thing, there always seems to be a freaking battle royal. I mean, we tell me we can't operate a promotion without having to lean on these matches every single time? Is that what you're telling me? And yes, AEW has lost its luster. It has. I'm not drawn into it all the time. But let me just continue with everything. I went to the Anarchy match. I went to the championship match. I just touched on the Taya Valkyrie and the Jade Cargill match. Like I said, I thought it was sloppy. There really wasn't much excitement to me for it. I'm glad Cargill dropped it, and maybe she could find maybe she could find a way to make herself interesting again. The trios match with the Acclaimed, Daddy Ass versus House of Black. Listen, I love Buddy Matthews. I mean, the guy's in phenomenal shape. I think he's a great wrestler. I loved him in WWE. This match was what it was. A lot of athleticism in the match, but again, I just think the idea of a trios championship is stupid. To me, it takes away the importance of the actual tag team championships, and to me, it just shows you how overstacked your roster is, that you need to come up with these belts for all these people. And that's another issue with AEW. AEW has so much talent, but you can't showcase all of it because you do not have enough time for them. Their roster is more deep than WWE because you've acquired a lot of WWE assets, and now you've acquired Ring of Honor. So yeah, you have a lot, and now you have to try to somehow figure out how to spread these guys through these different properties that you have. And the fact that I'm having Ring of Honor champions show up on your AEW is ridiculous. Keep them on Ring of Honor. There's no problem with swapping them out. So, for example, I think Cesaro is Ring of Honor champion. I could be wrong. Let's just say he is. Then Cesaro needs to keep his ass on Ring of Honor. And then when Cesaro loses that, then Cesaro can come back. And then let's put this guy over there. Let's put her over there. But now you got what? So now you're going to have Dynamite. You're going to have Collision. You're going to have Rampage. You're going to have Ring of Honor. You got, you have so much, you don't know what to do with it or how to utilize it. And that's your fucking problem. You kept getting all these WWE guys in there, And then these guys thought, okay, hey, I have the freedom, I can write my own ticket, which they probably do have a lot of control of their creative. However, if you were coming in and he's like, oh, I have free creative, what are you going to want to do? You're going to want to shoot right to the top of the card. So obviously Tony Khan has to say, well, hold on. We already have some things in place, but yeah, you tell me what you want to do fitting into this little corner here before we put you over there. And as you can see, a lot of that has not panned out with most of them. So Tony needs to figure out what to do with all these assets that he has. Let some go, or figure out how we're going to use Ring of Honor, how we're going to use Collision, and how we're going to do these rosters. I mean, the fact you talk about splitting the rosters or having a draft, I mean, can you not be more obvious that you're copying WWE? You can say you're not, but that's what you're fucking doing. You can say as much as you want, well, we just have a deep roster. Yeah, you do. And then the fact that you want to split the roster and pretend you're not having a draft, that's what you're fucking doing. And you know what? You need to leave people, if you're going to put people on certain shows, you need to leave them there. Because having all these guys jumbled all around is not working for you right now, Tony. And that's why you produce garbage pay-per-views like you just produced last night. The Adam Cole match and Chris Jericho match was very slow-paced. To tell you the truth, I expected a little bit more out of it. And it's just much interesting to me, and I really didn't pay too much attention to the match. The latter match, I mean, what the hell is that shit with Arn Anderson and Luchasaurus with the whole finger? What the hell was that? He looked ridiculous. And you can tell he had something in his mouth. And I didn't know what it was. For me, I'm like, is this guy going to do a mist? What was he doing? And then you can tell as he grabbed him, I mean, you sort of saw the pill or whatever he had in his mouth sort of come out. You sort of got the gist of what was going on once you sort of saw what he was doing. But it's just ridiculous. And then just the sell was pathetic. It was all just so stupid. And I'm sure Wardlow asked permission from Hardy to do the Swanton off the ladder. It's just some of these spots, it's like they're doing it just for the sake of doing it. It's like Shane. It's like every time Shane's in the Hell in the Cell, he has to climb to the top and jump off. It just doesn't fit into the match. They're trying to force it into the match because he has to do it for the sake of doing it. And it's like that's what they do with this. He had to do the Swanton for the sake of doing the Swanton. To me, it fit nothing into the fucking story of the match. We knew Christian wasn't going to win anyway, but still, wasn't necessary. And then just the bullshit with the biting the face. I mean, come on. It was ridiculous. And then Arn just looked ridiculous with all that shit in his mouth. It was ridiculous and it was stupid. And this is what I'm talking about, this shit that just takes me out of it. I know we're supposed to suspend belief, but I can't suspend my belief when, I'm looking at just stupid, unrealistic bullshit. It makes me think I could have used that $50 on sushi. I didn't watch the tag team match with FTR and Jeff Jarrett, so I couldn't even comment on it. I have no idea what happened. And then the opening match, the Battle Royal. So I was a little confused because I thought I heard the announcer say at one point that you get eliminated by being tossed over the top rope. Then I thought I heard them say it had to be you had to get thrown through the ropes, which to me didn't make much sense. But then I see something, and I'm just like, this is why AEW is in the shape it's in. Because we're not following the rules here. So this guy, what is his name? Commando, whatever the hell his name was, the guy that was dressed in white. So it was pretty cool what he did, how he ran the ropes like that and flipped onto everybody. But I have a question. He jumped over the top rope. landed on everybody, and both feet touched the floor. Wouldn't that mean he eliminated himself? Why was he allowed to get back into the match? And then when he gets tossed up, he's tossed over the top rope. He went over the top rope already because he threw himself over the top rope. So that's like anytime we see in the Royal Rumble, when somebody comes back to go after the person who cost them a couple of months, and they just attack them and they go over the top rope together. So that means that the person didn't eliminate himself? Does that mean he gets to go back into the ring? That made no sense. And then the other part that was bothering me was that, it started out so chaotic that you had half these guys fighting on the outside or whatever. To me, that was stupid. The one piece that didn't bother me, sorry, I had a yawn. It is almost 3 a.m. The one thing that didn't bother me was like Swerve Strickland and his other guys standing on the ramp. Because I remember, especially JR, during the Royal Rumble, they would say, the criticism was, why are you running into the ring when you already see the other guys fighting, wearing themselves out? Why are you going to get in there and stop somebody from somebody else? Just wait and just let them do what they're doing. And then it seemed like now on this time they say, well, that doesn't make sense this time. But if the purpose was legit to throw people over the top rope, there was no pinfall. Why was that now a bad strategy? You save your energy, you let these guys beat each other up, toss each other out, and then I come in at this particular time. So the fact that they were now saying that was a bad strategy, to me, took away, because that's a smart thing. Just like if I was in the Royal Rumble, and I'm coming in at number 15, but yet there's 6 other guys in there beating the crap out of each other, or they're about to, eliminate the strongest guy in there, I'm not going to come and pounce on 2 guys and now pull them away from them eliminating that guy. No, I'm going to stand outside. Okay, let them guys throw the big guy out. Okay, great. Okay, let them continue fighting. And we've seen that a couple of times, like with The Miz and Jericho in past Royal Rumbles, that they just, stayed on the outside. It's just a smart strategy. So those 2 things took away from me. The fact that the guy ran the ropes, jumped on the whole horde of guys, and then gets back in the ring. And I'm like, the guy just eliminated himself. How are you letting this guy go back in? So that took it away from me. I like Orange Cassidy. I'm glad he won. I was hoping that he would win. I would have been upset if Swerve won the match, but I do like Orange Cassidy. I like the gimmick. He's funny. He's cool. I'm not tired of it. I'm sure some people are, but for me, I'm not. But it was just so chaotic, and some of it just didn't make much sense, and that's why I just really wasn't into it. I'm like, if they're starting the pay-per-view this way, there's no chance of me being interested in anything else. So I missed the very beginning, which was with the buy-in, which I think was with the Hardys and Hook and everything like that. So, I didn't see the match. I can't comment on it, but the biggest thing I'm going to comment on, obviously, is Jeff Hardy being back. I never did the video on his return. Jeff is back. I would assume Jeff is going to be on his P's and Q's, because it does seem like after he falls off, when he comes back, he does have a length of time where he does stay on the straight and narrow. And listen, the man's is towards the end of his career. I'm sure he doesn't want it to, fizzle out with him, having his issues of being in rehab. Now some may say, some may say it's not fair, that this is like his 5th, 6th, 7th chance. Listen, when you are a celebrity, life is not fair. You're a celebrity, yeah, you get more chances. Yes, you may get punished, but you'll get a chance to get your career back. And this is just, I don't know how many times, this is his chance to get it back. But for the most part, I would probably say it's his last chance to get it back. I don't think WWE has any interest in bringing him back at all. So I would be very surprised if we ever see Jeff Hardy back in WWE. I think Jeff ends his career in AEW with his brother winning the tag titles, because that was the original plan for them. That is, of course, if he stays on a straight and narrow. Could Jeff become the AEW champion? I'm sure he's going to have to prove to Tony Khan he's really got to stay in the straight and narrow more so. But Jeff is back. Let's see what he does. Hopefully he stays clean. Hopefully he keeps his head straight. And, he can have another great, 2 or 3 years of AEW before he hangs it up. But I would be very surprised if Jeff went back to WWE to finish his career. I think he finished his career in AEW with that. But he just has to keep himself out of trouble. But that's my rant for AEW Double or Nothing. Like I said, I just was not impressed with the pay-per-view at all. I think they did great with the 4 guys. I just think it would have been better if they had pushed that fatal 4-way down the line and let him have his matches with one-on-ones with Darby, one-on-one with Jungle Boy, and whatnot, similar to what they did with JBL back in 2004. I don't know who his next challenger is going to be. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. I thought the pay-per-view was just a bust, and like I said, that little blurb that I read you, I agree with almost everything that he says. That AEW is not the AEW of a few years ago. It's not, and I don't know why the Young Bucks or whoever else is head of creative or in there, why nobody is saying, hey, we need to cut down on these gimmicks. We need to cut down on them. Having the Elimination Chamber every February, you can sort of make that work. But I think having a Hell in a Cell all the time was a bad idea. At one point there was a pay-per-view Fatal 4-Way, which I thought that was ridiculous. Your Money in the Bank, that works. It got to a point, if you remember, if you ever heard Devon talk, when they talk about the TLC matches, there was a point where he was getting tired of it. He was like, we're always facing Edge and Christian, we're always facing the Hardys, and we're always doing TLC matches. And it's like, it's enough. Eventually it gets played out. And you have old school guys of Big Show, Mark Henry, Malenko, Arn Anderson, and you're telling me that one of these guys back there is saying, hey, you guys have lost your way, you're doing too much gimmicks. I'm surprised nobody has spoken up. And if they are, somebody's not listening. So let's see what happens with the rest of the year. Maybe it'll click. Maybe the numbers weren't that great. I don't know. But, even Tony Khan had to admit that they need to try to attract the casual fan. And that's like me. I'm the casual fan. I pretty much only really check in when there's a pay-per-view. Because I can glance at a Dynamite and sort of get an idea of what's going on. But you guys may have enjoyed it. If you did, great. Tell me if you disagree with me. Tell me what you did, what you didn't like about the pay-per-view. And I don't even know when the next event is, but let's see what they do with MJF. Let's see what they do with the 4 pillars. As you saw, Tony Khan mentioned Goldberg, so we'll see what happens with Goldberg. I am going to be doing a video on that with Goldberg. I can understand where Goldberg's coming from and wanting to finish his career, but I'll do a video on that. But that's all I got for you now. It's 3 o'clock. I'm going to go to bed. Enjoy the last of everybody's Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy your barbecue if you're going to have one tomorrow. And until next time.